This one looks like a fun one. There's no way to adjust the depth of the pallets on the wheel because that's soldered in place. We're going to have to replace that. There's another piece of solder on the hammer, another piece of solder up there. Been a lot of soldering done on this thing. Let's see the other side. See, that's I don't know what the heck those are. Somebody added this little plate. Somebody abandoned this one. Yeah, this thing has been tortured terribly. So we're going to have to replace this and put it in with a movable one with a rivet in it. A lot of them. Yeah, big mess with this one. So when I went to try to adjust the crutch, it just snapped off. So we're going to do that first. Here's the crutch. And that piece on the bottom was squeezing the suspension rod so tightly. When I tried to open it up, it just snapped off. So we got to replace that. And that's the first thing we'll do. Okay, I looked everywhere, couldn't find any wire, but I do have an old this anchor here has enough wire on it, so I'll cut it off and use it. Put the wire in the hole and let a little bit stick out. Clamp the wire into the vise and then pounded it with a punch. Flattened it out so it's not going to fall out. Now I'll just put a little bit of silver solder on it to fasten it completely. Okay, that little clamp. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of flux, put it right there, and then I'm going to take, just cut off, put some flux on it, tiny bit of solder, okay, try again. Okay, now, booger. Okay, that's it. All right. So there's what we got right now. And it went through, so I'll just file it off a little bit, and that's adhered very well. Okay, and there we are. Got the wire attached. Not a lot of excessive solder. That's silver solder, so it's hard. It's not a soft solder. And now we'll just shape the piece. This is a movement that came out of a OG clock. It's a weight-driven movement. And somebody modified it to fit in a different kind of a case. I don't know what case it was. One of the things they did was to take what was originally a escape wheel that was probably on the front of the movement, and they moved it to the back, and the pin for the anchor is here, and it's not adjustable because it's been, guess what, soldered on. So you can't adjust the depth. And right now, as you can see, the depth is very shallow. We have some bent teeth on that escape wheel too. I can see that right now. It'll have to be straightened. We don't have much depth there. And we don't have much depth here. really needs to go deeper, and so that needs to be adjusted. So that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to quibble with doing what was done to this thing. Put a bell on it. Originally it rang on a gong in the case, because this is an OG movement, an 8-day OG movement. But we'll deal with it, and I'll make a piece for that to use in a different case. Get some more done here. If you look, here is a piece that may or may not have been on there originally, but it is now abandoned. It doesn't have anything on it. Here's an odd piece. Lots of solder on it. I have no idea what kind of a bushing might be in there, but this is obviously added, and I would like to point out to whoever owns this that whoever put that piece on there certainly didn't use a robust piece of brass. That piece sticking out here, right here. There it is down there with that arbor on it. And if you look, you can see it's extremely, extremely thin. We go to the other side. There's another gob of solder. Then I don't know if this is original or not. But when we look at the mount for the anchor, it's another piece of thin material that's been soldered, and so you can't adjust the depth. So what I'm going to do is I'm doing this, and then the hammer itself, something's been soldered there. So, and the piece for the escape gear has been twisted and distorted and bent a number of ways. So anyway, what I've been asked to do is replace that piece right there with a piece that can be adjusted to. Somebody put a piece of brass in between the tabs on the, you can see it here, right here. That's going to increase the friction, so I don't know if that'll affect the operation of this or not, but I'm just going to replace that, and then we'll see how it works. All right, well, got a bunch of pins in here. That one's missing. Oh, these are awfully loose. And this is bent here. Okay. Good grief. Yeah, get a heftier one. Okay, take that bell off of there because it's going to be in the way anyway. Maybe I'll take the bell off. It hasn't been soldered. Boy, this is really bad. Why would somebody butcher a movement this way? man. Okay. Alright, now what? All the pins are on there. There's a pin on the other side. Okay, we'll have to figure it out. I think I'll take these ropes off of here. Do that. I gotta release the click. Undo the click spring. Push the click out of the way. Maybe. There we go. And then pull the strings. Okay. Okay, string has just got a knot that goes through here and then comes out there. So, well, we're going to take that off. So I'm just going to cut that string off anyway. Get it out the way. Okay. Let's check out the other one. Again, what we do is we move the click spring out, move the click out of the way, pull the rope, and that rope is down in there. I don't know if I can grab a hold of it or not. Okay, heck with it. We will just remove that. Okay, ropes out of the way. Now what we gotta do is figure out what's keeping this on here. Another thing holding that on there. Did they do what I think they did? Sure as hell did. Evidently they must have broken this pin right, the end of this thing off. Drilled a new hole, then to make it fit, bent the plate down. And I have no idea what this is. It's just a piece sticking on there. That's another thing that's been soldered. Have no idea what it is. There's another hole over here. This is a mess. I'll figure out how to get this off of here. I have no idea what they did. Something has definitely got that. I don't know. I'll shut this off and see if I can figure it out. Yeah, but you can't guess where I found what's holding it up. Take off the anchor. Get this pin out of the way. There's a pin underneath there. Oh, brother. Can't believe it. Alright. Now it comes off. And here's that thin piece here that I was telling you about. I think they made it thicker, but we're putting a blob of solder on it. I still can't get in to measure it. But it's really thin. But there, look at. Well, I don't think I can get in on that. I don't know if I go this way. Yeah. If I get the thickness of that thing, plus that plate, that goes to, that's 2.3. And when I go here, that's 1.74. Less than half a millimeter thick. That's not substantial enough, but I'm not going to mess with it. I was asked to replace just that one piece, and that's what I'm going to do. Alright, you can't take the hammer out because it's soldered on. So, unbelievable. Look at that mess. Solder mess up here where the bell is. Solder mess here. Solder mess here. Solder mess here. What in the heck is that? Oh, that's... Oh. The piece where the suspension spring hangs, that was soldered on. What on earth? I can't believe it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, so I can at least keep some of the geometry the same. I'm just going to take a piece of paper. It's like file folder paper. And I'm going to put it behind this thing. Okay, let's see how that goes now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to tape that down on the back, and I'm going to trace the outlines of where this is. I'm going to trace the outlines of the frame and where this is, so that when I replace this piece, I keep it somewhat in the same area, because if it moves this way too much, I'm going to throw the geometry of the pallets off on the escape wheel. So we'll do that first. The outline where the plates are. I get a little indentation here, and comes here, here, and what I'm going to do is, that's where the pin is. Okay, so I know about where that pin goes. Okay. Now what I gotta do, I'll measure back from this to the back of the pin. Take this off. Keep a record, or at least a record of where that stuff was going. Take this off, take that off. Okay, now there's this. That's that far back to the back of the pin. And we'll put that, mark that on the back of that pin's got to go right here. So there's the pin. Okay, so now I have a reference to go from. What in the heck? Got that loose. Okay. I'm gonna take alright, at least that's loose. Maybe we can end up, if that's loose because I got that chunk of solder off, maybe I can simply pound that rivet tight enough that this can be adjusted, and then left. Yeah, look at this. Terrible. Let's get the hammer, and I need okay, this will work. I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to take this punch, and I'm going to see if I can tighten this enough with the rivet. Rivet. And now let's see how tight that is. Oh yeah, that's tight, and that should be able to be moved to do what we need to do. Alright, now I'm going to put this thing back together. Okay, the wheels and levers back in place. Now we just put the other plate on. Not happy with what I see here. Things like that just drive me crazy. And that's a real thin plate. Alright, this board that this goes on is creating far too much dust. It's very nasty. So I used some steel wool on it, and now I'm putting a coating on everything on this. 50% mineral spirits, 50% boiled linseed oil. And let this dry, and that will keep this from producing all that dust that was coming out of it. It would plug up the movement. So this, what was done to this movement is an abomination. That movement goes back to about 1850. And to take it and do what was done to it, really unbelievable. I wonder if somebody bought this and somebody told them it was a grandfather movement. And it's not. It's an OG movement. Likely Forestville. Oh man. I think this is the original board from an OG movement. Look at how they had to put pieces of brass on here to, I don't know, make it fit the case or something. But, I say I've never seen something so boogered up as what was done to this movement. That'll harden and seal that wood up. Stop giving off all that wood dust. All right. just see it soaking that up. I mean, it's just soaking right into that wood. I'm gonna stabilize that anyway. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let that set for a few and then we'll wipe it off and we'll go from there. We want to put new cord in here. The problem with getting new cord in it before was that these drums had been recorded many times, and there were this many knots in those, and that was keeping the cords from going through the drum so they could be attached. It took quite a while to get all those knots out of there. Now that they're empty, we can now put new cording in. The idea of how to put the cord in is you put the cord in the small hole, you bring it out this bigger hole that is up here, pull it out this bigger hole, tie a knot in the cord, pull that knot through the bigger hole, and it won't come out through the smaller hole, and that in effect attaches the cord. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so we take this cord, pull it taut, put it through the small hole, move it up toward the big hole, grab hold of it. Now we'll tie a knot in this, and once we get a knot in it, it's not going to come back out the small hole. So, tie a knot, tie a double knot. Okay. Now, supposedly, I'll go back, I'll make trim off that excess here. Okay. And now we pull the cord back through the big hole, and that catches. And if we've done this right, it shouldn't pull out of the small hole. There we are. Now we can wind that, and we'll wind enough cord on there that actually what I should do is I should probably just put a brass piece on that. It would make it work even better. Well, there's the other problem. Look at that anchor flopping back and forth. It's got to be rebushed. Gee, is it any wonder that it doesn't strike well? Look where those two gears are meshing. And if I try to make it strike, watch. It's striking well now. Watch. These gears are so twisted that they're rubbing everywhere. Up here. Look at the pins rubbing on the plate there. Right there. This is never meant to be fit like this. Whoever did this just butchered the thing. Okay, this now has bushing in it. It's going to keep it from wobbling. We'll put the wire back on it. And I think we are much closer now to having a drop is much deeper now. And I think we'll be having one that runs a lot better. Now we're trying to address the problem with the strike side, where this is all kind of works sometimes, doesn't work sometimes. Watch here, I think we got a bent pivot. Let's see. Look at the, watch the shoulder on the lantern pinion. See it wobbling, going up and down. I think that pivot in there is bent. Well, that's it. That's all I'm going to do with that one. So, I'm going to send it back. And got the new cord on. The problem is that this just was never meant to be what it is. Gears being changed. Things wobbling all over the place. Does run, does chime, and lack of end shake in some of them. These pins end up rubbing on the wall. I don't know. Did what I could. I'm not going to put any more time into it. Here's a photograph of how that movement was originally used. If we come up close, there's what it looks like. Here is a picture as it would have been originally. You notice the escape wheel is on the outside. On the front of the movement, here's where the hands would go, and so forth. That's how it was attached, and that's what it looks like. That's how it should have been. Okay, and then here's what this one looks like. Bell on top. There's an extra piece there. I have no idea. I guess that must have been the original piece that they used for the as in this one, as they used for the escape gear for the verge attachment. It must have been a pin in that hole. They left it on. Everything else stays the same. Down here is a piece that is not on there. I have no idea what that was used for. That's the situation. Notice that there's no escape wheel on the front here, and there is here. The escape wheel on this one is on the back, and it looks like that has been added or moved. There's an added piece, that piece that was soldered on so that we couldn't adjust it. I've got to examine some more things here to see what else is out of whack. Anyway, the other thing is that we have, okay, that reverses, actually reverses the look of things, because now we have the escape wheel on the back. This has been added as a suspension spring. Anyway, nothing's as it should be. So anyway, there's what we should have, still have, and we don't. Okay, this one is running. This piece was abandoned. That used to be the adjustment for the crutch. The escape wheel used to be here. I have no idea what this chunk is here. It's something. This piece here was added. It's got a big gob of solder on it, bushing buried in solder. That was added so that they could move the escape wheel to the other side. It just was a mess made of this movement. This is originally an OG movement. And same over here, we've got the escape wheel. And here's where the piece was put in for the suspension spring. And that was soldered in and made garbage of. So I don't know what they're going to do with this one, but I'm not going any further with it. That's as much as I can do. I got it so that these tabs are not rubbing, or pins aren't rubbing on the inside of the frame anymore. There it is. Done what I could.